Hey, black women. Had to sit for a minute. I was riding my bike around the I don't even know what the hell they call this place. Um, I have no idea. Courtyard, I guess, but if it is a courtyard, it's extremely large because it has like 7 sections in it. So I was riding all around it, and then I got stopped by my grandchildren trying to hustle me for toys and stuff because my daughter lives around the corner from where I live, and then my son lives on the opposite side. So it's like we each live in 3 different sections. So I'm riding around, running into everybody I know. They're like, "Oh, why are you riding around in the inside today?" I said, "Oh, because I just came back from riding outside in the streets and almost got hit by a car like 3 times. So I said, I think I better come in and ride safely." So, as I was doing that, I happened to, be listening to, just going all over different people's pages on YouTube and different podcasts and stuff like that. So I started listening to a little bit of, I stopped because it was ridiculous, but Ex Divesta's podcast, the one where she just incorporated Crystal Swirls Live the other day, speaking about black women. And once again, trying to blame black women for the injustices, the racisms of the world, the inequality, the inequity of society on a whole. So in this particular case, black women are supposed to once again be likened to be responsible for adult people and white people's racial prejudice towards black people and their hatred towards black people, in the sense that they feel like, we're not good enough to live in their neighborhoods, when in reality, their neighborhoods are not as good as y'all like to think that they are, right? I don't know where the facts of life and the reality of life got lost on y'all, but white males are some of the most, not ain't no one of the most, they are the most violent men on the face of this planet. If you don't believe that, you can let history reflect on every place that they have ever colonized. So when it comes to black women carrying this childish high school shit so far with this man bashing and man hatred shit, to the point where, they're calling other black women antebellum names in regards to their relationship to their sons and etc. It's stupid and it needs to stop. Like, Crystal Swirls herself has a son, I might add, that these very women that she's trying to uphold right now were responsible for trying to cause a crisis in her life that would have been unsurmountable in the types of problems they could have actually caused for her if things were taken seriously. They called Child Protective Services on her to try to get all types of things to happen to her because she was talking out against black women being male worshiping and centering themselves. But now, for her to talk about, which is what the point of this live was, to talk about black women who supposedly bring these black males with them to so-called superior neighborhoods, which there are none, especially if you're talking about Caucasians, okay? And they're now causing black women to be looked at as the problem by white males who supposedly don't want you anymore, to be in their neighborhoods or want to be with you as if they're some type of savior, or if they were something you should have been checking for in the first place, which they definitely are not. They're going on talking about how these women that supposedly, because I doubt they know any of this stuff for a fact, right, are saying that these guys that are in the neighborhoods are there solely, now that's the key word, solely because of black women. Again, they don't know none of this for a fact. And the things that they claim these guys are doing, they're doing the same things that they would be doing in the hood, hanging in front of the Starbucks, hanging in front of stores, standing on corners, etc. And I have to call bullshit on a lot of this because I have to honestly tell you, living in New York City and being a person that has family all over this country, I have been in very wealthy neighborhoods and very, very poor. and intermediate neighborhoods. And even here where I live, I know some of y'all are delusional, like the young lady Sarah, who decided to try to lie about my living situation, which she's not aware of at all, right? Talking about how I live in the hood and I'm impoverished and my sons are living off me. Nothing could be further from the truth. However, I have been to neighborhoods in New York City that have private streets. Some right here in my own borough. We have actually private streets. And I can honestly tell you that there would be no way, if you live in real upscale neighborhoods, that anyone is allowed to loiter, stand around, or do the things that they're claiming these guys are doing in these videos. Because for people who really have interactions with real private upscale and upscale communities, we know those places come with their own security. Security that either the patrons of that neighborhood pitch in and pay for themselves, or they come with the community. Like in Queens, where I live, we have 3 separate private communities within this entire borough, in 3 separate locations of this borough, and each one of them has their own private security that their community board has purchased, the private residents have purchased, and then it was like the neighborhood watch association purchased. So when you live in really upscale places, there is no such thing as people just doing whatever they want or so-called bringing the hood with them. The truth is, honey, that they're not really telling you the truth. And instead of them, like I always say, just being realistic about the truth instead of just being trying to be sensationalized and making something way more dramatic than it needs to be, just tell the fucking truth. Like, if this white dude that you talking about is so top shelf, he would not even give a fuck about if that was happening in his area, because it would not be. Because like I said, not only do you have nosy neighbors, but you have usually security that goes with those neighborhoods, as well as other people that will call the local police, deputies, or whoever it is that regulate the security in that area and let them know there is a strange person in this neighborhood, because even I've done it, that I have never seen before in my neighborhood. Can you please come? They've been sitting in a car for like an hour or two. Could you just come to ID them, make sure shit is okay? Everybody does that where they live. And you don't even have to live in a private area for that, because the NYPD does that as well. Like, if you live anywhere in this city and you see somebody on your block you haven't seen before that looks suspicious, you could literally call 911, or better preferred or more preferred, they want you to call the precinct locally. Have the switchboard operator, which is the police officer that works in the precinct in New York City, and tell them, listen, officer, whoever that answers the phone, I would like you to come and, check this person out, right? This is a strange person on our block. We don't know what they're doing. They're sitting there for I don't know how long. The police in New York City, they have a right to inquiry. They can drive up to anybody, walk up to anybody and ask them, can I see your ID? I want to know who you are. What is your business here? Da, da, da. You have a right to do that. So when these women are telling these stories like this, a lot of this stuff is just like blatant bullshit, okay? Now, we know that when you have an actual legal lease and people break your lease and bring in boyfriends and convicts that you've been pen paling with from prison, and when they get out, you and the parole officer have okayed them to come stay with you, but your landlord might not agree with that, and that also might be a breach of your contract of your lease. That is a reality. But the stuff they're talking about, when you really live in upscale situations, that is not how shit goes down. I'm sorry. And I don't care where you live in this country. People with money operate pretty much all the same. So now I get the gist. Instead of them just telling you, look, black women, if you really are trying to center yourself, because I don't agree with this whole divested thing, because fuck white men. White men ain't shit. And they're more problematic than black men and any other men when it comes down to it, because they feel so entitled to everything in this fucking world. It's crazy. And if you want to live like that, that's your business. It's not my choice, right? But for black women to come on here and always try to circle back around to blaming other black women for everything, I'm just a little fed up with it. I'm just a little fucking tired of it. And I get why they do it. They do it because they know that idiotic young women, the ones that attack me, come on here because that is all they live for, is to bash black males, but then at the same time turn around and talk about how they're not pro-black women. So then you are strictly fucking confused. Because if you live in a world where people clearly identify you as a black woman, why the fuck wouldn't you be pro-black woman? Because however those people are treated, your ass is going to be treated the same way. You will not get an exception. So it would behoove you to do everything you can to make sure that the women that you belong to the group of gets treated well. And it's just so silly. Like, all this shit is so silly, and it's so not age appropriate, because grown women who act the way they're supposed to, according to how old they are, they don't get on here doing all of this back and forth silly shit about worrying about black males. Like, if you want to come on here, really come on here and be about, yo, look, black women, you know you fucking up by constantly being in relationships with dudes that are taking your life every 4 to 5 hours of the day. It doesn't make sense if you have a problematic son living in your home. If you got a problematic son, that shit is life. Ain't no black woman in their right mind who's honest with you is going to tell you that if they have a problematic kid, that it's just because of all the shit she did wrong. Not true. Some people just grow up and be fucking assholes, or they grow up and just be useless. And if you have that situation, you got a decision to make. Either you put up with that motherfucker or you don't, okay? And I have honestly told y'all, I have had my share of issues with one son of mine all his fucking life. And that's his problem, not mine. Because I have to do what I have to do for me. I already raised you. You've been given everything every other child was given. If you don't decide to stand up and do what you need to do with it, then life is going to show you otherwise. And that's it. And as a mom, you do what you feel you need to do with your kids. You don't let anybody anywhere influence that, because they don't pay your bills. They do not. And if something happens to you where you're in a crisis, not one of these fucking women on here on YouTube are going to cut you a check to do what you got to do in your life. So this is why when I speak to black women, I'm telling you, fuck all of this trying to be affiliated and being loyal to these subscribers and being team this one and team that one. Be team your fucking self, okay? Be team yourself. That is the only way black women are going to get out of a lot of the social undercasting that we have in society, where people feel like we don't deserve shit because of the constant stereotyping and negative imaging of black women and males. And this is done by the very white people they want to run around on YouTube champion. That's done by your white men that you want to like big up like they're the fucking best when they're actually not. Like, I saw a few videos today that made a lot of sense to me. Number one, right? Pretty Black Magic had put up a video about that white woman that was fired, her and the black manager underneath her, for arresting those two guys that was in Starbucks, right? Now, there's a huge lesson in that. That lawsuit is a precedent to show other people that, well, actually to show white women and white people that they can win big money claiming reverse racism, right? Now, we all know that shit doesn't exist because, first off, for all of you idiots in the back, hear this well. There is no such thing as a black person in this country being a racist. No individual person can be a racist. You need to learn the definition of words. When you have the power to oppress and suppress groups of people through a system or a systematic or institutional way of doing things, that is a genuine racist. So only white people in this country could be that, because 3/4 of them within the government are in that position to oppress groups of people, suppress groups of people. And we have seen this shit time and time again. During COVID, when people thought, or the president was saying that it was Asian people that caused COVID, they were oppressing and suppressing the Oriental Asian people. When they were upset about certain attacks that happen throughout the world where it concerned Muslim people, then they start attacking Muslim people and certain Muslim Asian people. That's what they do. And all types of Muslim people, because Muslim people come in all races, right? So that is examples of oppression and suppression. And when they come on YouTube and they talk about their whiteness and their white supremacy and they actually do things to hurt people, and there are white groups that are allowed by the government as an extension of white hatred towards groups of people, especially black people, that is racism, because it is part of the systematic system that is working within this country. So when all this stuff is happening, black women need to understand that if you want to be able to live in communities that reflect you, that are high quality, worth something, and do not include white people to be defined as good, then you have to work on that, even though there are plenty communities like that that exist right now, right? But you got to work on it for it to be a commonplace type of situation, because when you have black women coming on tearing down other black women and trying to make it seem like everything we do is fucking problematic if it's not jumping on a white man's dick, there's something very fucking wrong with that. And mind you, I don't have a problem with black women doing whatever the fuck they want to do with themselves sexually, because that is their business, that's their prerogative. But please, as a group of women, don't come on here trying to disrespect and shout down other black women because they don't choose to go the route you do in life. There are some of us out here that do not care about being involved with men sexually or any other way, because we are more important to ourselves than a man. So when you're out here doing all of this, you're throwing like all of us under the bus and actually causing an even more hostile climate for all of us, because everybody looks at the internet. So when you're out here calling black women names and saying all this crazy shit about us that is not true, because this is all based off of your opinion and how you want to tell the story, but you can't never point to anyone in specific or in particular where you could go, this is exactly what she did, this is what I'm talking about. So you need to stop doing that, because there might come the day when you need to move somewhere. And since you have a son, and he might not be a person that's taking advantage or being a nuisance to society, and he has to go somewhere with you, and automatically it's a problem just because he exists. So this is why, regardless of how you feel about things, you could tell black women to do things for themselves without creating a negative cloud that's following over the heads of all black people and black women wherever they go. Because in this country, you should have learned by now that when you put out these false narratives about people, places, and things, this is what a white America does. They love to keep that kind of shit going, because by you pulling yourself down, dehumanizing and devaluing yourself, you are increasing their value and humanizing them more than they need to be. So I think y'all need to stop that shit. I think you need to stop the gender baiting and all that shit. And if you have a message for black women, like, look, I want black women to stop doing this. I would prefer that if you're going to do this, you do that. Or if you're thinking about moving here, do it this way. Why don't you give them suggestions, explain to them what your issues are, and put it out there, point blank. Instead of all the criticism and all of the Monday morning quarterbacking and reactive situations. Try a lot more preventative information and actual instruction, and you might get a whole lot of different change in this world and in all these communities. Because you know what it is? You have to think about it in real terms. A lot of black women with this divested shit, you come on here, you do all this criticism about black women, black males, everybody, right? Except for white men. And then you're doing literally the same shit that you're complaining about what black males do to black women. And when it's pointed out to you, you have a problem with it. So it is just much easier to just come with the suggestion or examples or instructions of whatever change it is that you want to see from black women, and just try to work towards obtaining that goal or getting that change. instead of trying to chastise, shame people, belittle them, and make them feel bad about stuff. Because believe me, if people don't want to change, you're not going to make them. And talking bad about them sometimes fuels them to go in the opposite direction. So just stop. Like, seriously, just stop. Because it makes no sense. Because ultimately, you can only change what you do. So if each one of us works on ourselves and we teach one and reach one as we go along, you make more change that way than trying to talk shit about somebody and make them feel bad and create a hostile environment that will set them back instead of allowing them to move further ahead in life. Because that's all you're doing is pushing black women back when you're doing all that silly shit talking about, yeah, I told this white man this and I told that white. You poisoning the minds of people against black women who look just like you. And if you think those white people are going to take the time to stop and learn the difference between you and a black person that's going to be problematic, you crazy. They're going to do what they always have done and what they always do. Lump us all into the same category, try to breathe life into stereotypes, and do everything to prevent and stymie our progress. So why would you, as a black woman, be a part of that shit? That's something you need to really ask yourself. Y'all really need to check yourself with what you're saying and doing on this internet. And because me, as a black woman, I don't agree with the childish antics that you're doing online, doesn't mean anything to me, and it doesn't change who I am if you call me antebellum slave names. Because one, believe me, I would die before I ever let a white person do anything to me, okay? Know that firsthand. So all those names you calling me don't make sense, because all those women who you are disrespecting the history and the legacy of their lives, they had no choice in being dehumanized, degraded, and violated like that. So for y'all to sit up here and to keep calling women names of other women who are long since been in their grave, who fought for our liberties, is the ultimate disrespect. Ultimate disrespect. And I pray the heavens and the earth hold you karmically responsible for all that disrespect. Seriously, and you get everything you and only you deserve for being so damn disrespectful, because those women lived a life of torture, a life of servitude, and you disrespect them and big up their colonizer. How sick are you? Please, black women that have sense, center yourself. Stop listening to all of these overly zealous groups on YouTube trying to get you to always have a problem with black males. The best thing you could do is worry about you and what you need to do in life and keep moving. You want to keep yourself safe? Stay away from them, because you already know that they're killing us every 4 to 5 hours of the day. Everywhere they go in life, if they get to any pinnacle in life where they can make change in society, they're always looking to throw us under the bus. You have all these idiotic black women on YouTube trying to tell black women to vote for Republicans. I'm still putting together that video on Tim Scott, because I don't want to miss any of the points where people are exposing him for being the idiot that he is. And the fact that he is a modern day fucking coon. He is a coon. He wants to cater to all of the, how can I put it? He wants to cater to all of the fears of white people, to put them to rest about him being a black person, given what he thinks in his mind equivalency to a white man, so that they can feel safe in putting him into office, because he's going to be the coon that does what the white man couldn't do to black people. And this is what comes out of all this stupid talk on YouTube about black women and black people on the whole by black women, speaking as if they're fucking Ku Klux Klan members. It makes no fucking sense. But you won't learn these things until you end up fucking around and all of us find out the hard way, because you put these dumb motherfuckers in office when they shouldn't be, and then they write into laws things that hurt us. The same way Florida right now is doing to the Hispanic people that voted for Ron DeSantis. Please, black women, wake up. Understand what women like me and others are trying to tell you. You got to get off this high school shit on YouTube and stop playing with these women that really don't have shit else to do but come on here and keep shit going. I mean, we really need to be on these channels talking about how black women can increase their money. I say this all the time. Increase their take-home pay. Increase the fact that whatever they have saved up to live their lives or for retirement, they have more of it. And if you're interested in getting into IT, make sure I turn my bike off. If you're interested in getting into that, you need to have all the know-how to get into it. And you need to stop playing around, and you need to start changing your fucking algorithm from all these dumbass women on YouTube to women that are actually showing you how to improve your life. I literally did it. And the only reason why I was scrolling around and looking at a few of these people that I shouldn't be watching is because I started looking at a couple of things about lawsuits, and then the recommendations popped up all these other people. I mean, we all have weaknesses, but you can't let it, consume you. You could cheat every now and then as long as you always have your primary focus on point and on lock. Seriously. Because, it doesn't make sense. Yesterday, I was talking to you about the Figma situation. I saw quite a few things today online that if I get a chance, I'll try to put together a video about that to just give you information. But black women, all y'all got to do is Google shit and then follow up on it, and you got it. You don't even need these people online. And if you sign up for those certificate courses, you have everything you need. You just have to take the time to make sure you complete it. And that's it. And speaking of that, I got to get off here now and get my ass back upstairs and get back on that course, because I was doing it last night till the wee mornings of the hour because it's the weekend. But now today I got to get back to my regular regimented routine. I stopped to take a break because you got to take a break. You got to do something else from time to time. So I said, let me ride the bike. Went to the Apple store, played around in there, got a few things, wanted to do some more stuff so that I could have a lot more mobile access, because I get tired of being stuck inside the house in order to do lives and etc. I want to be outside. It's going to be very hot soon, right? So I went to take care of that. I mean, I'm just telling you what I was doing today. I don't know why. It just felt like coming out. But I'm saying that in regards to, you got to, make sure you do what you have to do. Period. And all this other stuff online, please stop being a part of that team. Back out of it. Do other things in life, because you only got one life. So you might as well do all the things that's going to make this life very beneficial to you. I'm so serious. I am interviewing for a couple of more positions this week, because I told y'all I like to keep more than one employer, right? They don't have to know about each other. That's not, to me, I don't give a shit what they say. What I do, what I want to do is none of your business. But, when you work online, just know that a lot of times remote companies don't like for you to work for more than one remote company at a time. I don't know why that is, because it's really none of their business, but they feel funny about stuff like that. So just know that from me. If you do have one and you're going for another one like I'm doing, don't tell them about the one you got. Don't tell them about the two others you got. It's none of your business. And that right there, black women, is really another way for y'all to come up without y'all killing yourselves, as long as you got good time management, right? Because I usually always have 2 full-time jobs and 1 part-time job. I try to always keep it like that. Now, other people that are better than me with the time management and who could push themselves like that, they work 3 full-time jobs. Me, I can't do that. I do need some downtime. But let's say you're working somewhere and you're probably not making that much. I'm just throw shit out. Say you're making $30,000, just a figure, right? If you worked another full-time job online and you took the time to find one with hours that are flexible, where you could work whenever you want to, as long as you get the work done, you could add another $20,000 to the year that you make money. So now you immediately go from $30,000 to $50,000 in 1 year, just by adding on another flexible remote job. So you could do that, and you could do several of those jobs as long as you get the kind of jobs where you could do it flex time and get the work done. So there's always ways, black women, for you to improve your lifestyle and to increase the money you have in your pocket by doing different things. It doesn't always have to be a drastic, life change or a drastic transition to a new type of employment. You could just add little supplements on. You have to think about all those type of things. I'm never going to tell you not to look into the IT because that's the fastest way to increase your take-home pay. But if you got a job and let's say you even like it, because everybody doesn't hate the jobs they do. And some jobs might be more convenient than others for you. So if that's the case, see if you can get some damn remote job at home that with flexible hours, and then you good. And then that way you don't have to struggle as much. You don't have to worry about certain bills as much, and you're still okay. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind. And even though that had nothing to do with what I started the whole video on, I went off the rails. I do that all the time. Y'all know it. All right. Getting back to the point. Please stop all of this messing with black women about divestment and sons and etc. The bottom line is this, right? Black women who have sons, no matter what they want to do with their lives, they will personally make the decision what they want to do with their kids. You, as an outsider, have absolutely no right in trying to tell them to do with their sons. You're totally wrong for that. And I don't care how you come back at me about that, but that is none of your goddamn business. It is not. Now, if those people are doing things that are going to end them up in prison or jail, they're going to get there with or without the mother's consent. As far as the black males go, every black woman should know by now to stay clear of them because they really like the black femicide. And that's it. That's all I got to say to it. Because honestly, I personally get offended with all that crazy shit about calling people antebellum names, which is ignorant and disrespectful to our ancestors. And then you're talking about black women and wanting to fucking idolize white men, but then you want them to disrespect and disown their own children when their children are not problematic, but just because they're black males. That shit don't make no sense. It's stupid. And if you knew anything about history, it's the type of character assassination shit that Hitler used to do in Germany and throughout Europe to get people to get on his anti-Jewish campaign. So you all need to stop doing the dumb shit you're doing because you look stupid to the world of other people who have a Renaissance education and who actually know history. The things that you're doing are the very things people do when they want to dehumanize a group of people to the rest of the world, so that when those people are attacked that you're trying to dehumanize, like black women and black males and black little boys, when you do shit like that, it gives other people in the world the understanding and the opinion of, oh, okay, they don't see themselves as human. They don't want anybody else to see them as human. So it's okay if we kill them, fuck them up, and do what they want because they're asking for it. They're calling out for it because they do it amongst themselves. That is the biggest takeaway from this shit you should understand, because that is literally what y'all are doing. And I told y'all, and I'm going to tell you again, you be careful of big channels with motherfuckers doing that like DZ and others where you can't see their face. You don't really know if that's really black women doing that shit. You don't know if it's deep fake, AI, or whatever the fuck, anything else they got out here, because there's tons of shit out here where they fake new. Y'all used to laugh, right, when Trump used to say, nah, that shit is fake news. But they really have people whose job it is, right? And this is done in the military too. It's called special ops, where they have people whose jobs it is to put out fake information, to get people to be twisted and maneuvered and intimidated and influenced to do things a certain way. And when you helping them by doing the things you're doing, instead of just telling black women straight out, listen, stop all the bashing of each other. Speak, well, let me take the terms from other people. Speak life into other black women. If you want them to live differently, show them and tell them how. Stress to them the importance of centering themselves, protecting themselves, staying out of the harm's way of black femicide, staying out of relationships with black males because we know that is deadly for us. Keep your daughters away from these dudes. Watch your kids. We just saw, what was it, a couple of days ago in Atlanta? How old was this little girl? I think 11-year-old. She's in a two-parent home with black little girl, and she's on the line online playing with some old white pedophile who, how old was this motherfucker? 44, but looked like he was 67, right? He linked up with this little girl. This little girl was missing, and he's in the house fucking this little baby child to death until she's found with this white motherfucker days later. So this is why you gotta stop promoting all this type of bashing black women, dehumanizing each other on YouTube, because this is the fucking internet. And when you don't give yourself value, you take away your value from the world, and you make yourself seen as not even a human in the eyes of other people, so that they will hurt you, kill you, and demoralize you. You gotta stop adding into the shit that's already here. If you really want to help and you're so concerned about black women, then speak only to black women and speak to what black women should do to improve themselves, and stop all this other silly shit, because you're not in high school anymore. Good night, black women.